Now, without further ado, I would like to call upon Zeel Modi to introduce our guest of honor.
Hello everyone. I would like to introduce our guest of honor, Mr. Raghuram Velega. He is the Vice President of Big Data and Analytics at Reliance Jio. He successfully started an AI company in the media space and comes with a strong background with around 25 years of experience in various organizations like IBM, Cognos, Seliquest, and Infor globally. He's focused on building state-of-art big data platform for analytics and machine learning using cutting-edge open source, flexible closed source technologies for Geo. His focus is to create a high powered team with deep expertise in big data technology, which can deliver products with agility and quality. So, we are pleased to have you at our campus today virtually.
Thank you, Zeel. Good morning, dear students, teachers. It's an honor to be talking to all of you today and help in the Weave magazine, the first version of it, which you have launched today. And congratulations for the 4th anniversary of Avantika University. On this occasion, I would like to say a few words from what I have been practicing and what we've been seeing, how the world has been changing in the last few years. So, as you've seen, the world is very digital today. If you look at corporates and even governments are focusing a lot on transforming the world to be a digital place where everything has to be digital. If you look at the way India is going, or even the West has already done and moving forward, digital is the central focus for everyone today. Now, what does that mean? That means that all products which we have been using in the past, may it be products like IoTs, like cameras, like laptops, they all will have a different paradigm of communication happening with them. Right? Today, we are used to using a laptop, using a keyboard. Right? Now, the things would change where the way of interactions with these platforms will become more next gen, like using speech, right? Using gestures. Right? So that's where the world is moving towards, and with the focus, especially in India, spearheaded by our honorable Prime Minister of making India a digital leader in the big data and the AI space, and also um, helping companies to do so. I think we are in a very fast-paced mode of getting that done. So with that, I would like to say a few things about how at Geo we are trying to embrace the new digital transformation, and how in this digital transformation we have put design as the center pillar for whatever we do. May it be our software products which we build for our telecom industry, for our fiber industry, right, or for our new commerce business, even for our hardware industry where we are building our own phones, design has become a central piece for it. Right? Now, what has changed from um, you know before, the way we were looking at design to now? Now, what has happened is data, which used to be a very rare commodity, maybe 4 5 years back, where you guys were paying around maybe 100 rupees per GB of data. I know you might be feeling it very weird now, because now data is so very cheap, and everyone is using it in some way or form. Across whatever interactions you do with your in your daily activity, with your phones, with your laptops, with your IoT devices, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of data abundance available out there. So that has actually become a boon, both from the engineering, both from the design and the product companies. So now the way the new world of design is moving towards is using this data which is available, extracting the relevant information, right, and trying to design quickly, adhering to the needs what the customer wants, right. So Earlier, the designers had to basically have interactions with customers along with the product managers in the company, and try to find out what they need, and that your sample set would be very small, maybe 5, 10, 20, 50 people, and based on their perception, products were designed. Now that whole thing has changed. Now the data is available. We have got data in abundance, data from multiple age groups, multiple genders, multiple cultures. Now, and also the advent of technologies like big data and AI, you could harness and get real meaning out of it, and quickly design based on the inputs coming from there. And the second place where data and technology has helped is, once you design, the first thing the designer usually does is he does an testing around his design. He gets a feedback from the customers, right? So in the past, what used to happen, they used to have paper trails. They used to call people into the offices. They used to make them sit in a room, show their product, take notes from what they thought about it, and so on and so forth, did things like that. Now, with the advent of technology and engineering and data, there are products like Google Analytics, which would basically track every click which you make on the screen when you are navigating through a product, right? They would track every gesture a person makes, when they're interacting with the product. And that's the information they would then feed back to your central system, from where the designer can go and infer, whether how people are interacting with this product, where the people are feeling difficulties interacting with the product. So they would, and accordingly they can quickly adapt, understand those changes, and make the corrections in the product, and make it very adaptable to the customer. The second is the way the customers have started looking at products around us has changed. Earlier, it was, in order to work on use any product, people had to have a book which is called a user guide, right? Or easy to use guide, and there are a lot of pages out of it, and they had to read through it and then see how to use it. Now the attention span of a customer has gone drastically low, because of the way companies like Google, Facebook, and these have changed their perception. What they want is they want that it should be very easy for someone to discover a product, right? And they should not be struggling to find out anything around it. Today, if you ask anyone, even you, right, you would say that, that the way I look at things is I Google for it and I find it, right? Similarly, that's what they want. They need, for any product which you build, it should be very easy to discover a feature on it. It should be very easy to discover what I need to know from it, right? Second is, once I discover it, it should be very easy to use. Customers now have a very short span of usage. They want to get things done in 2 or 3 clicks. So you should create that as your principle, that I should design something which doesn't go beyond X number of clicks. If that's your principle, then your mind will start thinking and making things as simple as it gets. And third is, whatever you build, it should get the results what they want, and which can satisfy them. This is what we had seen in the case of Google, right? The Google became, the company, what it is today, because of its accuracy of its results, the way it brought it results with a few words, right? So that's one more thing which has to be kept in mind. So the key thing here is, whatever we design, keep a human in the center. Think about how the human demography has changed over time, and create a set of base principles in your mind, that these are the 3 or 4 things I need to think whenever I design something, which could be easy for him to discover a product, simple for him to use the product, and whatever he's getting to is exactly what he needs. It's not that we give him something which is not relevant to him, right? If we do that, I think we are well towards creating awesome products across. So with that, I would pause, and would like to take some questions.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It was really insightful, sir. I would like to ask you a few questions. So, New age of design and technology has begun. How do you see it shaping into the future, keeping sustainable development in mind?
Yeah, so a very good question, right? So technology, why that's so important for a designer? Um, so today, a designer typically is responsible to create the interactions across a product, interactions which are fluid, which are simple, which are easy to navigate, right? But now, if that designer understands how these interactions are going to be converted into a product, could be a software product, could be a hardware product, could be a device, right? And he understands the demography of the person who's going to be using this. When you marry all these three things together, then the designer's thinking completely changes, and he would design something which is very useful in the first go, right? So he will be always right the first time. So why I say the first time is, if you get something right the first time, you save a lot of money for the enterprise, right? So there are ways where you will fail a few times and then you get the right thing later on. But if you can do the first time and have that engineering bent around whatever you are designing, then you'll always be right.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really helpful. So, you have had a chance to experience work cultures across the East to the West. How has this shaped your outlook in the domain of designeering?
Yes. So I think India is catching up fast. Actually, I would expect that India would be surpassing the West as we go forward. And the way we all smart engineers from India are working on a very focused vision of digital India. Um, the way the West used to work is, we used to have something called design center of excellence, right? So whenever there was enterprise, they created a design center of excellence, and the main focus of that design center of excellence was to create standards, create basic templates, and these templates were not just CSS or HTML templates just showing how a button should look or how a screen should look. They had code behind it. They had JavaScript behind it, where I could basically take it and plug it into my life cycle of building a product very easily. So that is how they already had gone into the design engineering mode almost 10 years back, right? What that helped is, that helped engineering to build products in a very agile and a fast way. That same methodology is being accepted now across India. Even at Jio now, we have a very strong design center of excellence, because we have acquired so many products, as well as internally we have a lot of products. So I think we are catching up, and I think we will surpass them in no time because of the huge brain power India has, and the number of people we have here.
Thank you so much, sir. My last question for you is, what's your career advice for our students? How can some of us become Mr. Raghuram?
So what I would say is, in addition to design, having a software course which you could do, especially around JavaScript, React, JS, Angular JS. So think how you can convert your designs into something which can be readily used, right? That will take you to the next level in the industry, because most of your peers will come with basic design skills. You will come with design plus how to use it in the real world skills, right? So that combination will really help. So I would say each of you guys should take a software course starting now. Second, each of you should make it mandatory to do an internship. Internship should not be an option, but you should make it as your goal. And internship should be done every year, not the first year because you're getting used to it. Second year onwards, you should do even whatever internship may be. It could be like a remote internship where a group of students come together, work with the industry, get some projects, work on it, get a review, get it done. As you go to your last year, do a on-prem internship for at least 2 to 3 months, where you understand how the industry works, and you will see your perspective of learning will drastically change.
Thank you so much for those kind words, sir. It was a really insightful session. It has been an honor to host you. Now we'll open to the audience to ask questions. Uh, if anyone from the audience has any questions, they can unmute the mics and ask.
Thank you, Mr. Raghuram. I'm sure our students would have a lot of questions to learn from your experience. You're working on, I'll take the honor to ask you the first question. When we first spoke, we spoke about very interesting insights in terms of using big data, and how in the pandemic situation and the times right now, things have opened up. And companies and governments are realizing the importance of using big data. Could you, share with us light on few use cases which you think are very exciting in the coming few years? How it's going to create an impact?
Absolutely. So actually, COVID has fast-tracked the whole thinking around digitization. It has fast-tracked the thinking around big data. Big data used to be a buzzword, but now with all the media coverage, what COVID gave, and now people understand, how important this data is about. Uh, in this current situation, what at Geo, what we had done was we had helped the government in the contact tracing problem which the government faced. We helped the government in the migration issue which came in, a few days into the lockdown. Where there was, a lot of our fellow countrymen, stuck in places and they had to move home. So all these problems, we had used data and the big data and created solutions for the government, for Niti Aayog and all, so they could help these people. And not only just, finding out where these migrations were happening, we also helped using big data on where they need to go. For example, if we have got our fellow countrymen stuck in a place and they were looking for food, which was one problem which had occurred early in the stage during the COVID times, right? We were able to send messages to them of the nearest location where they could go and pick up some food, right, where they are located. So it was very personalized for these people, and very situation driven for them, right? And this was only possible because we had the big data solutions in place to cater to the needs. Now, what does big data mean? Big data doesn't mean that it is just a large amounts of data which you have to churn. Big data means that you should be able to, of course, churn large amount of data, but with a minimum amount of time, right? You should be able to get to your problem, solution for your problem much quickly by churning large amount of data, taking insights out of it in shortest amount of time. And with this kind of data which we could collect from these people to help them out, it was very much possible. So the other big area where data helped us a lot was on the medical side. So we actually have launched the Jio Health App, which helps you do your COVID tests at home, right? It helps you talk to do phone consultation with your doctors sitting at home, not coming out of home. Right? So a lot of data is being used out there. So that's how data has helped a lot in the times. It's shaping the world now as it goes, in the health area specifically, because now people have realized, how critical and important our health is in this COVID times.
I'm sorry. Ideally, it's the students who should ask a lot of questions, but I'm also quite excited, Mr. Raghuram. So the other question that I had is, we see in the recent time Reliance Jio actually moving in a very interesting manner, creating an entire ecosystem around it with all sorts of mergers, acquisitions, new companies, products, and services that are being launched. Where do you think this is leading towards in terms of the entire ecosystem building?
So the way Geo is heading is, we are already a software company today, right? So we're now going to become a products company, and we're going to be building technologies and products which can be exported out to countries outside India. So India becomes the largest software exporter, right? And focusing very much into our Prime Minister's dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat, not just from the software, but even the hardware side. So that is the key focus. And also, India has fortunately the largest consumer base in the world. And also that base is very affluent, and it's getting more affluent day by day, right? So the demands are also very, very high. We used to be followers, in the past. Now I think the time has come, as our chairman puts it, right? This is the golden decade for India, right? And this is the time when India is going to be showing the way for the world, both in the digital economy as well as in the AI and the big data space.
Thank you so much. Over to other students. You can unmute, say your name and ask the question. Yeah, do we have any questions?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, Raghuram, sir. It was really a pleasure listening to you. Sir, I had a question which is basically, sir, when there are existing products which are far more established, and when a new product comes into the market, how do we deal with meeting the things that most the customers need, because they're already be well versed with that ecosystem which is already there, right? So as designers, how do we look at this problem and solve it?
So if there are existing products out there and people are used to it, right? First is you need to make sure that when people are using it, are they really satisfied? Because there is always a notion that, because I've been using my fridge in a certain way, right? That's the way it is, and I'm happy with it. So the other way is you should look at, what their feeling about using the product is. A couple of ways you can do a survey to see how it is. Send these surveys out to different demographics of people, different cultures of people, right? And see what they're thinking about it. And once you have this data available to you, then that would help you to see whether people are really used to the product or they're loving the product, right? So now if you find out that they're used to the product but not really loving, or they have got some gap between the use and the love, that's where you can basically then redesign that product for the company, and then take it towards loving the product. So I would say this is exactly where the data would help you, because in the past you would have assumed that if they're used to it, they're liking it. It's not so, because now the whole paradigm of looking at products has changed. I'll give you an example. Today, if you go and get a device, an IoT device, right? Let's say Google Assist, and you basically put it in your home, right? The way it gets installed is all automatic. It's all voice activated, right? It's a very different paradigm. While now if you go and you look at your refrigerator, right? You have to open the door, you have to look at a few things, you have to go in and check out things, what's there available, right? Now just imagine, right, you come up with a new paradigm saying if the refrigerator could talk to you. Let's say when you're putting stuff in a refrigerator, and it knows what you have put in there, and instead of opening the refrigerator and looking at it, if you could just tell him that, tell me what you have in you today, and for how long, what's been there in with you, and it could talk back to you and saying that, I feel that, I got eggs in here, but eggs are not really, they're not getting there, they're getting rotten because they've been there for the last 2 weeks, right? Then you could make a quick decision and go and pick it up. So there is a huge shift in thinking of people, and also a huge shift in making them think differently from what they are, right? So to answer your question, Pradyuman, there is always an option to make it much better and making them love a product than just getting used to a product.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hello, sir. Mihir here.
Mihir, can you please be a little loud?
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
Mihir,
are.
you are more
Yeah.
audible. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Sir, my question is that since the pandemic started, we have seen all the local businesses suffering too much, and they are shutting down in places and everywhere. So, what I wanted to ask is how we can use technology solutions like big data and IoT to help them or support them in any way, so that yeah, so that's my question.
Uh,
Yeah.
no, very good question actually. So actually in Jio we are trending towards that. So today if you look at the kiranas, right, and the biggest challenge with the pandemic is people going and getting stuff from these kiranas. Right? So how do you elevate the problem? If we can give them a capability where they don't have to go, where the customer doesn't have to go to these kiranas and bring it, but enable the kiranas to have a supply chain backing behind them and an application fronting for them so that customers can place their orders online for them and the back-end supply chain can deliver the orders to the customer, then the problem is solved. Because if you look at our villages, we have around 600,000 villages, right? In each village, you would see that there is always a small one or two mom and pop shops, right? But again, with the pandemic, we are all very cautious to, go there and have social distancing and things like that. So if we can enable these two pieces, the fronting with technology and the backing with the supply chain and the inventory of where they can get their goods from, then I think we're enabling our mom and pop shops to not only survive the pandemic times, but also make them thrive against the big corporates, right? The big chains. This is exactly a product which Jio is launching to make the kiranas smarter, right? So these products will basically change the way our kiranas operate by enabling them, taking away the middleman from between and making them communicate and work with the customers very closely.
Yeah, thank you, sir. That was helpful, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Can I go
Yeah,
for it?
Mike, yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Very good morning, sir. It's
Morning.
our pleasure to have you on this very auspicious day of Avantika here. So actually, I'm a little bit curious about Geo. So I just wanted to ask, after this is our seventh semester. Like I'm a final year student, and after one semester, we are going for our placements. So I know most of us want to work with Geo. Like Geo is aspiring technology company in India, and so I just wanted to know what Geo is looking into their employees. Like what skill sets are required to work with Geo. Like how Geo is targeting their freshers or employees, what actual skill sets they want from their employees. So can you give us some information about it?
Sure, sure. So I think you guys might have actually, you guys have already learned a design skills, right? How to create interactions, how to create, human-centric designs. So what I would say, we're also looking for software skills along with it. We want people who can take those designs and let's say it's an XD you create, right? And you take that XD and we see that how quickly they can convert into some kind of a component, some kind of a code, right? So if you can garnish those skills in the meantime, as you're in the seventh year, right, you still have got a year to go. So at least seventh semester. So I think 6 more months to go. Right? That's a long time. So you can quickly learn those and start thinking from a product's perspective, right? Thinking how I can build something which can be reused, not something I use once and I throw it, right? So if you can develop those two skills, one is software skills to help convert what the designs which you have done. Second is build whatever you have built, even be it a design or be it a software component, which can be reused multiple times, right? And not once. Then I think you are the man. This is the kind of people we are looking for.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
Hello. Hello, sir. Vaibhav Sharma this side.
Yeah, hi, Weber.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to get your view on a topic that I've been recently studying about in terms of design. So like suddenly we were hit with the pandemic, and all of a sudden the user behavior changed dramatically. So the company started responding to it, and started investing a lot of money, resources in creating a ecosystem which is sustainable in pandemic. But in your view, what things as a designer should I also take into my notice, so that when the pandemic ends, all of my effort that I have put on during this time does not completely waste?
Right. So, see, it's a pandemic. What it's helping you is it's helping technology, right? And when it's technology, it is helping on the people who are interacting. Today, what used to happen is, we used to go to the market to buy things. Now, with the pandemic, we are keeping the distancing and we're saying the things come to you, right? Instead of you going there. So that's one way. But in addition to that, what I would say is the way of communication with with all the products is also changing, right? Now, if you look at our millennials, which all of you, right? I think you guys have been playing more of games, right? So gaming is one area which I feel is going to be the next big thing, right? And this gaming is also now going to the next level. It's not still the standard PS2s, or the TV games which you're doing, but it's more getting into the AR, VR, and MR space, right? So, and the way you look at these two technologies, especially the gaming with AR, VR, MR, there's a huge potential to start investing some time in understanding how interactions and design has to be done there, how gestures need to be made there, right? That's an area which I would really advise all of you guys to start investing some time and effort into, because that's going to be the next big thing as soon as the pandemic, even when the pandemic goes on, this is going to be the next big thing which is coming in.
In the
Thank you,
interest
sir.
of
Thank you.
time, we will take one last question.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Payal.
You were mentioning AR, VR, and we're actually taking a course on that right now with our professor, Mr. Ambrish. And what kind of expectations would Jio have from that? Like, if you're even venturing into that area right now, like how much should a student be looking into it? Because we're already doing the basics.
Yeah, good question. So actually, we have launched our Geo Glass, an alpha version of it. So we are focusing a lot on building software for the AR VR field, because we also big into media, right? So what I would say is the way we are looking at the AR VR space and design is if I'm building some content, right, for my AR VR, which is the key, right? How would that content display on the screen? How would people be interacting with it? Because the interaction with the AR VR is typically with gestures and with your eyes, right? So when a person is looking at an AR VR and moving his eyes around to track, let's say, a character, right? How how would you make sure that those interactions using your eyes and your gestures to move those objects is going to be very fluid and very simplistic and very easy as a human being to be moving across? That's the kind of skills we're looking for, right? So the designer needs to not only be designing AR VR software which can be used, which can help people move move very simplistically across whatever they are doing. Maybe it's reading a book, or maybe it's playing a game, or maybe it's interacting with a teacher in a classroom, right? So that's the kind of skills we are looking for. So is that something which you guys are learning today? Because that's this could be a very good area if you guys are learning, right? And if you guys are interested in some kind of an internship going forward, we can look for helping you guys out on that area.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
actually. Thank you for that.
Our students are definitely going through those courses, and as discussed, I'll keep in touch with you. I received one last request on this chat for a question. So we'll take this last one. Nitya, over to you.
Good morning, sir. Nitya Vijay this side. So, I have been a part of this community building project list webinars. Since this pandemic, the use of patterns are changing. So, does such community models make sense?
Absolutely. So if you look at it, see, today we don't have to travel to do this conference, what we're doing, right? So now, these collaborative applications, today you're learning through these collaborative applications have become extremely important. Now, what's more important on this? How do you design things in these collaborative applications so that people who are new to using them and people of all age groups and people who are experts to using them should be able to use it very simplistically. So what has happened now is whatever you're designing is you have to take a very wide range of people into account to design that particular product, right? So I think this will become the new norm. So the way we are doing conducting these meetings is going to become the new norm. Even after the pandemic, dies down and things get back to normal, this is going to be how it is. So what I would say as designers, you should start thinking. So I would say a good exercise would be is today you guys are using Zoom, right? Now list down all the things you think Zoom is not doing well, right? And start thinking about and designing something on, say, making Zoom to the next level. See, that's where you can start contributing into this kind of tools.
Thank you so much, sir.
I'm sure, Mr. Raghuram, there'll be many, many more questions. But in the interest of time, we'll cut this conversation short here. We'll ensure that our students reach out to you for more such insightful conversations.
Sure.
Yeah, Zeel, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering the questions. It is really helpful for our students.